they do return quite a bit of players from that team. They did lose, again, Keith Randolph and Johnny Newton and Tip Ryman, who got drafted by the Cardinals, along with Isaiah Adams. Those guys both, he was offensive lineman. They both got drafted by the Cardinals. So they did lose some talent. But every year, everybody really loses something.
Right.
It's really what did you replace in that? And Illinois did replace Isaiah Adams. They got J.C. Davis, who is on – he's second team preseason All Big Ten by a couple people I've seen already that kind of know their stuff. So, they replaced the offensive line. I think they upgraded the O-line, which is where I'm, Zach, I'm very bullish on the team because they upgraded the O-line. They've got a very nice young core of running backs who I know we're going to get to. And they upgraded the wide receiver core with they lost Isaiah Williams, who got picked up by the Lions. But they've upgraded the receiving core. So they got a transfer from Ole Miss, who was Barry Lunney's prime. Hold on a second. Prime Zachary Franklin, prime guy at UTSA when Barry Lunney was there, and they were really good. UTSA was really good for a couple seasons.
Yeah,
so hired Barry Lunney from there. But Zachary Franklin has had 2,000-yard receiving seasons.
Wow.
Okay, he was a stud. He didn't have a good year at Ole Miss. He was injured, and then really just kind of said, you know what? If I play one more game, I can't come back next year and play. So I'm redshirting. And at the end of the day, I don't blame him. You're injured for most of the year. They were trying to, I think, force him to play the last couple games where he was like, I haven't been part of this system. I'm not incorporated in it. And then they're going to make me go just waste my college eligibility away. So he sat out the last couple games, and he's a talented guy. So they upgraded there, and they added an FCS tight end All-American named Cole Rusk, who's going to be a nice little piece that you can put in the slot too if you need. Very talented pass catcher. And defensively, though, is the real big question.
Yeah.
Is defensively, it was the second worst Big Ten, I think, defense in the Big Ten last year. Yards per game and scoring. They added Terrence Brooks, though, from Texas, who that's huge. I mean, he was playing in the national semifinals in January, so.
Yeah. And it's honorable mention Big 12 a year ago.
Yeah.
So, like, a good corner.
He's a legit good corner. He started for Texas. I just want everybody to know that. Like, he started for a top 4 team last year. Yeah, he may not have been the best corner on that team or even the top 5 in the league, but he's a good cornerback, somebody that Illinois needed to help this young core. And then, of course, the young core in the secondary got a year older, which always helps,
Yep. Well, and looking down the depth chart, this is according to Phil Steele. I mean, it's junior, senior. I mean, the only sophomore he has listed in the starting lineup on defense is Alex Bray, a sophomore.
Okay.
But you got Dennis Briggs, senior, Tara Edwards. How are you feeling about them replacing Randolph and Newton?
I think Dennis Briggs is a huge addition because the man's got tons of experience at FSU. And I think he's got a lot to play for because he was just a rotational player there. When you got ballers and beasts and madmen that are getting drafted along the lines of where Newton, is, FSU has just a supreme talent on that D line. But the fact he's fitting in there, and then he's going to come be a guy at Illinois. He can be a guy. You can just, with it's your last hurrah, come help this group. Come be a dude who can mentor, who can make plays. But really, it's how Illinois defense is going to go where Seth Coleman and Gabe Jacobs take them. Okay. So Seth Coleman is the leader of that defense, and he's been in this system the whole time that Brett has been here. He's actually a Lovie Smith holdover. Lovie Smith loved him from Florida, and I think he's got a chance to get drafted if he has a good year. He's got all the intangibles you would like in a outside linebacker, edge rusher. And also, if you're looking at the Phil Steele, Kenneth Odaluga is a huge piece for the team. When he went down last year against Iowa, that really crushed, I feel like, their bowl chances defensively. Because really, I forgot the Iowa game they blew, by the way. They were winning in Iowa City and gave up they hadn't given up more than a 15 yards play the whole game, and then gave up a 40-yard touchdown run after Odaluga went out. And, Kenan Odaluga is an X factor for me on the defense.
Yeah. So it sounds like while there's youth and obviously replacing like the heart of your defense from a year ago, it seems like depth and a resurgence of new blood, or not resurgence, but a injection of new blood. Brooks, Briggs, and it's not just new blood, but it's actually experienced new blood, because Briggs, 6 years at Florida State.
Yeah, Gentle Hunt is going to be a guy with a chip on his shoulder. He came from Florida A&M. He FCS All-American. He's FCS HBCU. Sorry. But still talented, 5'11", 300 pounds. He's got that nasty motor where you want a guy like that on the line who can get leverage on guys, and he's quick. And the staff loves him. They think, this is going to be a guy who's got a motor like Johnny Newton.
Yeah.
He's got a chip on his shoulder like Johnny Newton. I don't know if he has the talent of Newton, but he's a guy that's going to be in there who can be a nice piece for him, I think.
Yeah. So Gentle Hunt, not so gentle on the line.
No.
You were beaming pre-show about Caden Fagan, and so I'm just going to let you go, because I think this guy, I think this guy could be a stud, and obviously you can say more about him.
I mean, he's a guy Ohio State fans would be excited about if he was on your team. I mean, I'm just telling you, it doesn't matter. He would play at Ohio State somewhere. Okay. I don't know if he'd be a linebacker right now, because you got Henderson and you got Judkins, and my point is those are studs. I get it, but Fagan is not far behind. He is a specimen. Okay, almost 6'4", 250 pounds, and can run over 21 miles an hour when he's sprinting. If you look at him, he's sculpted like a Greek god. He's got a nice vertical. He chose Illinois because he grew up an Illini fan. He grew up 15 minutes from Champaign. He had Notre Dame after him. He had Iowa wanting him bad. I'm sure, Ohio State and Michigan may have offered him at something else. I don't know. But he was a top 150 kid. He's just something. He was just injured for a nice chunk last year. He still averaged 4.8 yards or 4.6 yards a carry. I just wrote an article by the way, plug an article of at Mike Farrell Sports called Watch List, Big Ten offensive under the radar names, and he is one of them. Because if you think about it, like I just mentioned, Henderson, Judkins, the Rutgers running back, what's his name?
Manungai. Yeah,
Manungai. Obvious reasons. These guys are all going to be talked about.
Yep.
Because they've proven it. Fagan hasn't got to prove it yet, but what you saw last year made you say, man, what could this guy be if he even plays 10 games? What could he be if he plays 12? And it's scary. So he's a very good pass catcher too. He caught 16 passes for 9 passes or for like 116 yards. He had a big 55-yard touchdown pass reception against Minnesota, where he outran the entire defense. That's really kind of what gets that clip's actually in the article as well. So
yeah. Well, and I think you combine that with a more experienced offensive line from a year ago.
Yep.
You start to see, there really should be, at least a bowl team, if not more than a bowl team here for the Illini. And
then Josh McCray's a nice piece in the backfield. He's dealt with injury problems, but he's 6'1", 235. Bielema loves his backs, his big, thick, bulky backs. It's a sad thing is when you have those backs, what do defenders do to get them down? Right, they go low,
Yeah,
and
and they get hurt.
that's McCray's biggest bugaboo is his ankles. His ankles and his shins have been beat up because these guys. And I mean, at the end of the day, if I was tasked to get them to the ground, you got to do what you got to do.
Yep.
And it's sad that way, but guys have always been rolling on their ankles, and he just has not been able to stay healthy. But Aiden Lawfrey is a nice change of pace. He's got nice burst. He's coming into his own now. I think he's fully ready to be a guy that can be an every down back if you need it. I don't think they will need him to, but it's nice because it's nice to have three guys, that have made plays, who have been the guy who can, take some carries away. So you don't have Fagan having 30 to 35 carries a game.
Yep. So really good running back room, upgraded offensive line. I think defensively, the back seven has improved. The back eight, I should say. The front line, question marks, but it seems like
defensive line is probably the biggest question mark, I think, right now. Just depth. The talent, though, the first 3 or 4 are nice, But we all know somebody's going to go down at some point. Yeah. And then it's like, then how's your depth when you got 2 really good guys, right?